Hello, I'm Simon Carney and my guest today is Julie Lyle, Chief Marketing Officer for Prudential. Julie, thanks for being with us.
Thank you, it's a pleasure.
Julie, you've had quite a varied career. Can you give us some of the highlights, please?
I had owned my own agency for 11 years and sold that in the late 90s, and then went to work for a public education company, and then went to work for Raytheon in the defense business. Although I was really in the commercial side, my role was to build the commercial services division of Raytheon to identify technologies that were applicable in a commercial environment. Sort of like the X-ray, the night vision that you see in the Cadillac or the GM cars. That was actually, I'll say, dumbed down technology from the Tomahawk missile. So that kind of thing. And then from Raytheon to Walmart. I started in the international division at Walmart, headed that marketing for them there for 2 years, and then was promoted to head marketer for the global business. Shortly after that, I went and did a 2-year turnaround stint for Sun Capital, which is a private equity firm. I was chief merchant and marketing officer, and taking 2 retail firms that had been merged and separating them. And then at the time, Prudential recruited me. They were just going into the financial crisis and wanted a marketer that would come out to Asia and help them in the fastest growing division of Prudential, PLC, I should say. It's the Prudential out of the UK. They were looking for someone that would help them ensure the integrity of their brand through the financial crisis, as well as bring more innovation and a consumer-centric, everybody says consumer-centric, but really a consumer-focused perspective to their marketing endeavors in Asia.
Do you notice any differences between working in North America and now working in Asia?
I have found the international markets, Asia in particular, more open to innovation and to trying new things. In the U.S., there tends to be there's the great history and success in a lot of marketing approaches. Like every sector, businesses tend to become very internally focused, and it's natural when you have whether it's a marketing team or any functional area, you have a big responsibility and a plate full of tasks to want to just simply export the way you're doing it in one place to another geography or another business unit. And so that reinforces the inward focus. In Asia, I think, much like if I can refer to Latin America and the telecoms situation back in the late 80s, they leapfrogged the incremental growth of copper wire, fiber optics, all of that. They went straight to satellite. And so they went from having abysmal telecommunications to everyone having a satellite-fed smartphone or mobile device that they used both at home, same phone, same number, at home and at work. I think Asia has the potential to do that kind of monumental leapfrog.
In marketing terms, have you noticed whether Asia is lagging behind in any way?
I think there's many places where, I don't think it's particular to Asia. I think every geography has certain inherent economic challenges that cause them to lag behind. So for example, and some of them in many cases are misnomers. So for example, when I joined Prudential, one of the things I was told was initially that Indonesia, which is one of our most prosperous markets for Prudential, that Indonesia is just not digital. I mean, they're absolutely not digital, nobody's online, it's just not the case. When the reality of it is that I would say the regulatory structure for their cable services division makes it cost prohibitive to have a PC versus a smartphone. So in fact, they're one of the most online communities in Asia. It's just that nobody took the time to dig a little bit further and find out where are they online and what devices are they using.
Tell us about what you've done at Prudential.
The Always Listening, Always Understanding campaign had been out there with Prudential for a little over a decade. When I joined, I was candidly a little skeptical as to whether it was still relevant in the environment. And I joined shortly after the financial crisis in 2008. So we did a significant amount of research across the region. And what we found was that, in fact, post-financial meltdown in September of 2008, that always listening, always understanding, personable interface with the customer platform was more relevant than ever. And we watched also the early signs of our competitors switching from the big, iconic imagery of race cars and race horses and athletes and we're stronger and we're bigger and we're better and that kind of thing, actually shifting their messaging to actually, I would say, encroach on our space of being more personable and one-on-one. But at the same time, the brand needed a refresh. I mean, it had been, I would say, ignored, had not been invested in above the line media. It certainly had not been invested in at all in below the line or in the digital space. And it just needed a refreshed approach for the customers as well. So that's what we've done.
So social media is very important for you at Prudential.
I think it's a powerful tool for marketers on a number of levels. First, I'll say that I think we all face, if we're honest with ourselves, we all face the conundrum of we've all been talking about social media going to be the next best thing. It is the next best thing. It's happening. And yet there's some tipping point that we haven't hit yet where it literally takes over and dominates the scene. We still are finding that the above the line and the more traditional forms of media are extremely relevant, and this is true globally, and they have extreme power. So that we haven't hit that tipping point yet, with the exception of some very specific industries or sectors. And I would refer to, for example, Intel being able to shift completely into an online space as opposed to using above the line media. So there are avenues where it's shifted in specific sectors, but for the most part, the rest of us that are dealing with brand building on a larger scale still have to make a use of the broad mix. But where I say it's really valuable to marketers is it is forcing companies to stop just saying we're customer-centric and to really start to embrace the fact that the decision-making, the purchasing power, and the access to information is now in the consumer's hands. And spin and all of the drama and all of the theater can only go so far. And we know that 67% of purchases are being researched online first. And we all know that word of mouth is powerful. And those two elements are forcing us, I think, in the benefit of the consumers themselves, to be more authentic across channels, to have to truly live and deliver on the brand promise, because we'll be called out on it if we're not.
Is it harder for a financial institution to engage in social media?
My short answer would be yes, but I think my colleagues in CPG would probably, we could share, we could whinge equally as well. I think any environment where you are as highly regulated as we are, and certainly when I say CPG certainly in food and drug, they would face the same issues. But where the regulatory environment, and if we're talking about Asia or even globally, is so complex market to market. The expectations, the sophistications of the regulatory environments and the regulatory constraints are very complex, not often very clear. All of those things add a level of complexity that are very challenging. And for financial services, specifically in the environment of social engagement, online or otherwise, it creates a unique dimension or challenge for us in the sense that we have so much that we have to do in the disclaimer mode. And so much of that is tailored market by market, if not product by product or channel by channel. That how do you deliver a consistent message that is easy for the consumer to digest and meet all those regulatory demands at the same time? That will be an ongoing challenge, and if you have the solution, please call me.
I don't think there's enough room in a tweet for a disclaimer.
No, there isn't.
What's the role of editorial, brand-created editorial?
I think editorial, again, if it's authentic, can play an important role. But it has to be authentic in not only in promoting the strengths of the brand or the product or the offer, but also in acknowledging the shortcomings. Because, as you know, even today in the social environment, with everyone online and everyone having their opinions or visibility to your editorial, your content, you're going to be called out even if you're factually correct. People are going to challenge you. And so I think in order to protect the reputation of the company, the brand, the product, the marketers can engage directly in their own dialogue and building their own content, but they must absolutely have integrity at the core of whatever they say or whatever they post.
What do you think the opportunity is with online video?
I think it's brilliant. I think we are, the generations that we are all trying to target so aggressively. I'm keen on Asia because this is where we're focused for our growth for the next 5 years. the higher net worth incomes, these people that are gaining new access and new visibility to the world, as well as new visibility to their ability to penetrate that world and make their mark on it. It is very much a me society. It is very much an entitlement society. It's very much multiple generations of I have a story to tell, I have an opinion, I have a voice to be heard. And so the opportunity for us as brands and as marketers to engage with that is powerful. It's all that, of all of the social media engagement, YouTube has shown that that is the one platform that is accelerated at the speed of light and will continue to do so. And if we can figure out how to harness that, the challenge is we've got to figure out how to get them to talk about us rather than just us talk to them or at them. And that's where the power actually resides. When they want to begin to tell our story, and we've actually represented it to them in a way that they embrace it and become ambassadors, positive ambassadors, and use that medium to get our story across, then we've won.
It's the Holy Grail.
It is the Holy Grail.
Julie Lyle, thank you very much for being with us.
My pleasure, thank you.